Good day, and welcome to the Air Force NGAGE MAC Opportunity webinar. Thank you for joining us. Today, we'll be walking through one of the most significant upcoming opportunities for the rapid modernization of the Air Force's ground equipment. Over the next session, we'll cover the draft RFP timeline, scope, eligibility requirements, the self-scoring framework, and proven strategies for positioning your company to win a seat on this contract. Let me introduce our team. My name is Cal and I am your artificial intelligence host today. With me is Ab Vand, VP for Capture at GDI Consulting and a subject matter expert on these opportunities. Ab has over 30 years of experience in capture and proposal management. He is considered an expert in self-scoring as well as traditional proposal and capture efforts. Ab has extensive experience in winning multi-billion-dollar defense contracts. He has managed over 1,000 successful capture and proposal efforts and is a regular contributor to various online GovCon magazines. He has also held numerous training webinars for various APMP chapters and APEX, previously PTAC, offices throughout the U.S. Before starting, there are a few housekeeping notes I would like to mention. First, this webinar is being recorded and the link to the recording will be sent to you within 24 hours. Second, we will hold a Q&A session at the end. You can send your questions during the webinar by the chat system to the right of your window and Ab will address them at the end. Third, you can download this presentation by clicking on the link under File on the right-hand side panel on your window. We highly recommend you download the slide deck so that you can always refer back to it. So let's see what this webinar covers. We will first have a quick glimpse on GDI Consulting's capabilities. Then, Ab will discuss the general details of the NGAGE MAC opportunity and then its scope of work. He will next discuss the proposal structure and go into a deep dive of the scoring system. Next will come a discussion of the source selection system and then Ab will touch on the subject of teaming. He will then share some recommendations on how to win on this opportunity before opening the floor for questions. So, with that, I will now hand over the control to Ab to first give a short glimpse on GDI Consulting's capabilities. Ab, you can take over now.
Hello everyone, and thank you, Cal. As Cal mentioned, I highly recommend that you download the slide deck so that you can refer back to it, as I might be going a little bit too fast at some points. If you have any problem in downloading the slide deck, just mention your email on the chat system and we'll send it to you. Okay, so let's very quickly introduce GDI Consulting and the services we have, and then we can dive into the NGAGE MAC opportunity. So here's a little about GDI Consulting and our track record. Over the past 15 years, we've built one of the strongest performance records in the federal consulting space. We hold a 98% win rate on Oasis Plus self-scoring proposals with 97 awards secured for our clients just on that vehicle alone. On DoD opportunities, our clients benefit from an 82% win rate supported by deep experience in both capture and proposal execution. We have worked with over more than 650 satisfied customers, including over 86 major firms, several of which are ranked among the top 10 defense contractors in the US. And in 2024 alone, our team supported 289 winning bids, contributing to $19.6 billion worth of awarded contracts for our clients. So simply put, GDI Consulting delivers results and we do it consistently. Okay, now let's take a quick look at the range of business development services GDI Consulting offers. Our proposal development services covers eligibility checks, self-scoring analysis, and full proposal support, whether it's a task order, a standalone bid, an IDIQ or BPA, or major GWAC submission. We also provide review services and staff augmentation if your internal team needs extra bandwidth. On the capture management side, we support everything from early stage strategy to complete outsourced capture. That includes dedicated capture management opportunity, sourcing and qualification, and support for major federal vehicles such as Oasis Plus, GSA Mass, Seaport, and etc. We also offer our proprietary platform, Capture Edge, which streamlines self-scoring, teaming, pricing, and proposal readiness across your pipeline, all based on AI systems. Beyond capture and proposal development, we provide a range of support services, including price to win, competitive intel, the formal black hat exercises to strengthen your positioning, as well as accounting preparations for DCMA and DCAA audits and CMMC certification support and similar services. And finally, we offer training programs in proposal development, capture management, helping internal teams build long-term capability. So in short, whether you need support on a single bid, search capacity for your team, or a full strategic partner, GDI Consulting offers a complete end-to-end set of business development solutions. Okay, so that was it. Let's now dive into the NGAGE MAC and start with some general information on this opportunity. So this slide provides foundational details about the NGAGE opportunity. The Air Force Life Cycle Management Center's aircraft generation branch is responsible for procuring next generation AGE solutions, AGE. This is a AGE obviously stands for Aerospace Ground Equipment. This is a full and open multiple award IDIQ with an estimated $920 million of ceiling. The period of performance is one single block of 10 years ordering period. So these details set the stage for understanding NGAGE's scale, structure, and competitive environment, and we'll go into it in the next slides. Here we outline the procurement timeline based on the government's notices and some assessments. Multiple draft releases and Q&A cycles occurred throughout the summer and fall of 2025, providing insight into their evolving requirements. The final RFP is expected in early November, but might probably slip due to the delays created by the government shutdown, obviously. Award is forecasted for mid or late 2026. So understanding the schedule helps offers organize capture, teaming, and proposal development activities effectively. Okay, here we are summarizing the minimum participation and eligibility conditions as clarified by sections L and confirmed in the latest Q&A. Essentially, there are not much requirements, so each offer must submit only one proposal and must meet the minimum technical requirements, including one work sample for each of the two focus area categories and a minimum of self-scoring points of 2. I will discuss this in more detail later on. So that's essentially the minimum. Large businesses must submit a compliant subcontracting plan, a current DD Form 2345. The Military Critical Technical Data Agreement is also required for eligibility. So these are what you're supposed to provide. Okay, let's now discuss the scope of the NGAGE MAC opportunity. Before going into the scope actually of the NGAGE MAC, as it is about the AGE equipment, let's understand what AGE is for those of you who are new to this. I doubt it, but I just wanted to make sure. AGE stands for Aerospace Ground Equipment. AGE refers to all equipment used on the ground to support aircraft operations, including launch and recovery, maintenance, servicing, that's hydraulics, nitrogen, oxygen, cryogenic, etc. Power generation, cooling and heating, and finally all different types of testing systems. So let's see what the NGAGE Max purpose and scope is. NGAGE is a 10-year IDIQ vehicle intended to develop, integrate, and field innovative, multi-capable age solutions that support the aircraft launch, recovery, and maintenance across global operations for the government, for the Air Force. The program focuses on rapid modernization supported by digital engineering, MBSE, agile methods, and open architectures. The MAC doesn't support full production or long-term sustainment. That's not part of the scope. So each delivery order includes its own SAO and technical requirements. The ordering guide, which comes with the draft RFP, governs processes for issuing, managing, and competing orders across all companies who are awarded. So let's, here we've highlighted the immediate focus areas the Air Force has outlined for the NGAGE MAC. So these systems represent the government's early modernization targets across ground support, cooling technologies, test equipment, and age mobility. So this list includes both legacy replacements such as the MC POW, tower bars, nitrogen, carts, and hydraulic test stands, and next generation capabilities like refrigerants free cooling, updated cabin pressure testers, and universal repositioning systems. You should understand that these areas signal upcoming fair opportunity proposal requests. So each of these items reflects high priority sustainment or modernization gaps, and you should be prepared to show how these capabilities, engineering experience, and technical data solutions align with these needs. So this slide gives you a clear look at where the earliest NGAGE task orders are likely to be released. Okay. And here's the list of people involved in this MAC. On the government side, it can be used for both capture as well as execution side questions and efforts. I'll just jump over this. Okay, so let's start the fun part. We want to dive into the proposal structure now. So this slide provides a consolidated view of the required NGAGE proposal volumes. Volume 1 contains the administrative documents, including the DD2345 and any subcontracting plans. Volume 2 is the core technical proposal, limited to 30 pages, and must include the NGAGE self-scoring matrix, work samples, and supporting artifacts. And then Volume 3 includes the small business participation plan, limited to 8 pages. And finally, Volume 4 includes pricing for the post-award conference. Submission must adhere to Section L formatting requirements, obviously, and must be transmitted via email or the DoD safe system. Now I'm going to go over each of these volumes in the next slides. So Volume 1 contains all mandatory administrative elements that are usual with all RFPs. The government will review the completed RFP and amendments, validate the DD2345, that's the Military Critical Technical Data Agreement. It will also confirm compliance with subcontracting plan requirements for large businesses. Only one proposal per offer is evaluated, so make sure that there are no multiples. And then exceptions identified in the cover letter may affect eligibility. As usual, that's the case for all RFPs. All documents must be submitted electronically and transmitted through approved secure methods, including the SAFE system. Okay, now Volume 2 is the critical technical submission part. it must clearly substantiate all claimed points in the self-scoring matrix using evidence drawn from the 2 required work samples. So each category requires a minimum score of 1. There are 2 categories, so each category requires a minimum score of 1 to be considered technically acceptable, with a minimum total of 2 points as clarified in the Q&A. So you must get 1 point per category, so that the minimum eligible score is 2, since there are 2 categories. Now, documentation may be accepted, but remain in its original format. So you're supposed to provide the SAO or the award document, that sort of thing. The government enforces a strict 30-page max. Only the first 30 pages will be reviewed if it's more than that. Okay. Now, let's go over the categories then. I mentioned that there are 2 categories. You need to provide at least 1 work sample or 1 contract per category, and let's discuss this. So first category focuses on companies that act as true original equipment manufacturers. The government wants to understand what age or AGE or comparable industrial equipment your company has produced that directly supports aircraft launch, recovery, and maintenance operations. This includes systems like hydraulic and cryogenic servicing carts, electrical power and conversion systems, mobile HVAC units, compressors and pressure testers, and that sort of thing. It also includes the H with AS 8090 compliant running gear. Now, for companies that haven't manufactured H before, the government still allows participation if you can show relevant capability through things like design work, development projects, prototypes, or industrial engineering efforts similar in scale or complexity to H. The intent here is to demonstrate that your organization can develop and deliver specialized support equipment aligned with the flight line or back shop or operational needs. So that's the good thing about it. If you have not done H but can provide that sort of thing like design work or development projects, you can still participate and provide those contracts for category 1. Okay, so that was category 1 OEM manufacturing experience. Now category 2 focuses on a company's ability to deliver in digital engineering and sustainment data that meets the strict Air Force standards. To qualify, you must demonstrate proficiency with technical manual contract requirements under TM 86-01, including development of technical orders. You must also show experience generating logistics product data compliant with DISS 81758A and engineering data for provisioning under DISS 81874. Now the government is also looking for training material development capabilities and relevant engineering analysis, such as finite element analysis, thermodynamic flow modeling, and processes. Digital engineering capability is essential. Experience with tools like Doors, Cameo, ANSYS, SolidWorks, Creo, CATIA, and MATLAB is strongly encouraged. The key expectation from the government is demonstrating end-to-end requirements, traceability from the digital environment all the way to the final product design. This ensures, as far as the government is concerned, lifecycle support accuracy and data integrity for the H systems developed under NGAGE. Okay, so let's expand on the rules governing work samples for these two categories that we mentioned. So per the latest Q&A, offers may use non-CDRL artifacts if they do not have direct age manufacturing experience, as long as the documents demonstrate relevant capability. The work samples must be clearly tied to the two focus areas, obviously, focus area categories. The documentation must reflect its original format and source. So you can't copy paste from it into a Word document or anything like that. You must provide the original format like the SAO or the Word document, whatever. Only artifacts supporting claimed points should be included to avoid exceeding page limits. So don't include other material. Now let's discuss the point system specifically. So each acceptable work sample, each contract under each category receives 1 point. So 1 point per contract. Now, since we have 2 work samples per category, the maximum points you can get for each category is 2 points. Now we have 2 categories, 2 times 2 becomes 4. So the maximum number of points you get under this MAC is 4 points. Unless obviously they change that eventually in the final RFP. Now, even though the maximum is 4, if you can get 2 points, overall 2 points or above, you are considered acceptable under this volume. Now, there is a requirement that you have to have at least 1 contract for each category. So the minimum is that you have 1 contract for category 1 and 1 contract for category 2. To have a minimum threshold of 2, and then you're acceptable as far as volume 2 is concerned. Okay, let's move to volume 3. So volume 3 focuses on small business participation. Small and large businesses, both of them, must submit this volume, which outlines planned small business involvement. Now, the latest Q&A reaffirms that large businesses must also submit a small business subcontracting plan, which is separate from this, in volume 1. This volume focuses on participation commitments. The document must be realistic, detailed, and consistent with the overall proposal content. Now, volume 4 is brief and concerns pricing for the post-award conference only. So per the latest Q&A, the base MAC does not include pricing for CDRLs or technical deliverables. All such pricing occur at the task order level. The government evaluates price but does not rate or compare price proposals through a trade-off. So yours is not compared with others. It just has to be complete and reasonable. So this volume is simple, but still it must comply with the RFP submission rules, so you cannot neglect it. You must submit this volume. Okay, let's now discuss the source selection process. The first slide summarizes the source selection method. So NGAGE uses a technically acceptable process with no trade-offs. In other words, you're not being compared with others. As long as you get a pass on these, you're awarded. Now, technical and small business participation are evaluated as acceptable or unacceptable. Price is evaluated but not rated. The latest Q&A clarifies that the self-scoring matrix is the tool used to determine award eligibility. Why is that? Because essentially volume 1, 3, and 4 are easy to do. I mean, volume 1, just don't forget to put in the signatures and include all the documentation. Volume 3 is your plan, subcontracting participation plan, and volume 4 are the prices. Just make sure that they're reasonable. So everything boils down to how well you actually perform on volume 2, which is the self-scoring part, with a minimum of 2 points. So that's why they say that that determines award eligibility. At the end of the day, your past performance, determines the award. Now let's see how each volume is evaluated. So volume 1 must be fully compliant to avoid immediate disqualification. So make sure that you complete everything that is needed in the way that they have requested in the RFP, as usual in any RFP, the administrative docs. Volume 2 is assessed for technical acceptability and validated through the scoring matrix and work sample artifacts. This is the most important volume, so make sure that you have at least 2 points there and you provide all the documentation that is needed in the way that they are asking for it. Now, volume 3 is evaluated for small business participation, and it's a pass or fail one, or acceptable, unacceptable. And volume 4 is reviewed for price completeness. Make sure that everything is complete and reasonable. Now, failure to meet any of these thresholds, especially the threshold 2 points in volume 2, results in eligibility. Ineligibility. Okay. Now, teaming is always a question that needs to be addressed, so we are addressing it here. We want to focus on how NGAGE handles teaming, particularly where the rules become restrictive. That is the use of work samples, the contracts for volume 2. Under NGAGE, the government requires that all scored work samples come from the offerer itself. This means the prime cannot submit a subcontractor's or teaming partner's project as one of its minimum 2 official work samples. The draft Q&A by clarifying that the minimum requirement is 1 work sample per focus area category, and those samples must reflect the offerer's own performance. So subcontractor experience can still be mentioned inside the narrative sections for context, but it cannot be relied on for scoring points. Also, only documentation originating from the offerer will be evaluated in the self-scoring matrix. So, you cannot use documentation to prove your score from your subs or others. Joint ventures is completely different. It's a different story. Per the SBA rule, which allows JVs to use past performance of their members, if you're submitting your proposal under the JV name, then yes, you can use all the past performance from any of the members for this RFP. Finally, it's important to emphasize that teaming structures for the actual work will come into play at the task order stage through fair opportunity proposal requests. So the MAC award does not lock in a permanent team. If you mention a team in your submission, it doesn't mean that you always have to work with them, and you cannot bring in new subs for each task order. Okay, so the distinction is critical for offerers planning to strengthen their capability through partners while still meeting the self-scoring requirements, meaning that in the self-scoring part, you have to rely on your own contracts. Okay, a few recommendations on how to win on this opportunity. And this is generalized, so it, both small businesses and large businesses can use some of them. First, because NGAGE places no limits on contract size or recency, and I should have mentioned this earlier. So, you can have a contract, one of those 4 contracts that you use on the contract on volume 2. The contract can be, say, $50,000, $100,000, or it can be $1 billion contract. The government doesn't care, as long as it aligns with what is requested under category 1 or 2. It's good to go. So the size of the contract doesn't matter. The recency doesn't matter either. Whether you completed contract 20 years ago or a month ago, it doesn't matter. Now, these might change when the final RFP comes out, but so far there's no limitation on the value of the contract or the recency. Therefore, one, small businesses can take, this gives a huge additional point to small businesses, because the value of the contract is not considered here. So as long as you have experience that aligns with category 1 or 2, you can actually participate in this opportunity. And overall, whether you're small or large, you should consider every project your company has completed. Don't put aside any are old or because their value is low. As long as they align with category 1 and 2 or 2, they're good to go, and then you have to decide or pick from them. Now, next point is commercial aviation or industrial projects can be especially valuable if they parallel age functions. So again, if you don't have a specific age experience but have done, say, commercial aviation type work or industrial experience that align with age, you're good to go. You can use those. In your initial score assessment, say your initial score assessment shows that you barely meet the minimum threshold, meaning 2. So you have 2 contracts and you think you can get 2 points for it. It's important not to stop there. You need to at least have 1 more point. We call it a cushion point. So you need a cushion point to protect yourself in case a work sample is downgraded or determined ineligible. In other words, you don't know, you have 2 points, you provide 2 contacts and you submit, and then for any reason the government reviewers don't like your justification and put aside that contract. Then you're left with 1 point and you're not eligible for volume 2 and you're disqualified. So make sure that you have at least 3 points, 1 cushion point above the minimum threshold. That is the usual case for all these self-scoring proposals. It's a good strategy to have. Now, for companies without prior age manufacturing experience, the government does allow a wide variety of acceptable artifacts, including prototypes, design packages, development efforts, and engineering projects. So use that. These alternatives, of course, must still demonstrate relevance to the specific focus areas. So you have to show that. And do remember that you cannot use your subcontractors' work samples. Okay. Now, this concludes our discussion of the NGAGE MAC. Let me mention the services we provide specifically towards NGAGE MAC, and then go right into the Q&A session. So here are the services we provide. We provide free consultation where we review your company's background and capability, teaming structure, and overall competitiveness for this program. From there, we provide a pre-qualification assessment to determine eligibility, score potential, and any gaps that need to be addressed early in the process. Our full capture services cover opportunity tracking, teaming support, strategy development, discriminators, and positioning for maximum scoring. For full proposal development, a dedicated proposal team comprised of proposal manager, writers, compliance specialists, reviewers, and subject matter experts are assigned, and we handle cradle-to-grave proposal preparation from compliance matrix and storyboarding all the way to final submission and amendment. So we do all the hard work and legwork, so to say. We also conduct full and multiple rounds of review and compliance checks to make sure your submission is complete, compliant, and competitive, and your score, of course, is maximized. If you already have an in-house team, we can provide reviewing and auditing support, acting as a second set of eyes for your compliance and score maximization. This includes 2 structured rounds of reviews along with review reports and debrief meetings, so your team knows exactly what to improve before submission. So in short, whether you need an end-to-end proposal development or support for your internal teams, GDI Consulting can deliver a complete proven process for the Air Force NGAGE MAC. Now, in case you want to contact us for technical or sales inquiries, here are my contact info as well as my colleague Maroon Freedy. please contact him if you want to set up a call or get information about our services. Email me if you have any technical questions, and I can help you as much as I can. Okay, so let's answer some of the questions in the remaining time. Okay, first question from Jane. How does the government validate the self-scoring matrix, and what happens if evaluators disagree with our claim points? Okay, so the government verifies every claim point against the work sample artifacts, as they call it, submitted in volume 2. Now, points are only awarded when sufficient evidence exists. So you have to really make sure that you provide all the documentation needed. Now, if the evaluators reduce a self-score for any reason, you will not receive an opportunity to clarify or correct it. Usually, because they've said that they plan not to conduct discussions, or at least the Q&A says that it doesn't plan to conduct discussions. So you want to make sure that you have everything correct in the first go. So because a reduced score can result in your failing to meet the minimum requirement. So you don't want to face that situation. Next question is from Bob. Can we submit a work sample that is not directly tied to a CDRL if we lack prior age manufacturing experience? Exactly, yes. As I mentioned, according to the Q&A, companies without prior age manufacturing experience can submit non-CDRL artifacts, prototypes, design packages, development efforts, relevant engineering projects. Now, this is as long as these demonstrate experience applicable to the focus area category. So you still have to be applicable to that. Okay. Now, question from Amanda. Can we submit only one work sample because it shows multiple capabilities? No, the Q&A requires one work sample per focus area. So, and the government updated the requirements so that the vendors must demonstrate experience in both categories. Therefore, a single work sample covering multiple areas doesn't seem to meet the minimum acceptance requirement. Let's see, next question. There's some sales related inquiries. Yes, we do provide proposal development, as I mentioned. So please contact Marone. Okay, next question from Eric. Is there a recency requirement for work samples? Also, any minimum value to the contracts? As I mentioned, no. So far, meaning with the latest draft RFP, now they might change that, and the latest Q&As. There is no specific date requirement, whether you performed this contract 20 years ago or a month ago, or a value. So no minimum value to the contracts. Your contract might be a few $1,000s, or in the millions and billions of dollars. It doesn't matter, and you don't get any extra points if the value of the contract is larger, as long as it aligns with category 1 or category 2 requirements. Question from Lindsay. Will the government accept documentation excerpts if the original documents are large and complex? Well, yes, the Q&A clarifies that excerpts from original artifacts are allowed, provided that the content is unedited. So maybe say, for example, the SAO is 80 pages and you want to reference pages 4, 5, 6. Now, the best way to do it is to actually include the first page of the SAO. So, it's understood it's a SAO, and then include pages 4, 5, and 6. But you can't copy paste from that into a Word document or something, somewhere else. So the excerpts must be an authentic portion of the original document, what they've said. Question from Andrew. How does NGAGE differentiate between innovation and build-to-print submission during evaluation? So innovation is not scored during the base MAC award, although the SUE emphasizes innovation and modernization. The latest Q&A clearly states that assessing innovation priority will occur at the task order level, not at the MAC award level. So the base award is strictly technically acceptable using the self-scoring matrix. Question from Sandra. Can we use our commercial solutions? So yes, commercial and modified commercial solutions are allowed and preferred if they meet their requirements, obviously. So they have to align with, again, category 1 or category 2 requirements. You can propose COTS or commercial industrial equipment with modifications as long as the final solution meets age and technical requirements established in the solicitation or the task orders later on. Okay. Question from Jenny. What type of cybersecurity standards are we expecting in this MAC? They're not required at the MAC level. So per the Q&A, the government's primary focus is NIST SP 800-53, the controls there for cybersecurity. Now, OT-specific standards such as NIST SP 800-82 may apply at some task order level, depending on system type and mission requirements, that sort of thing. But for this, for the MAC, there's no requirement so far. Question from Stefan. If we participate as a developer under NGAGE, will it create an organizational conflict of interest for future full rate production contracts? Not automatically, no. The Q&A states that OCI risks depend on the requirement of future separate contracts. So awardees, if you get awarded, may still compete on later production contracts, but they must disclose potential OCI concerns, of course. So it's not an automatic process. Okay, I think I've answered all the questions because there were some sales related ones. If I missed anyone's questions, I will review this again after the webinar and I will reply to you by email. Thank you everyone for participating in our webinar, and I look forward to you in our future webinars as well. Have a wonderful day.